everybody, this is Sodhi from CAANWINGS Consultants Private Limited. A very warm welcome to my YouTube session. So this session is going to offer you some very valuable insights into what you've been very confused over. So I do hear a lot of applicants say, should we go for the subclass 190 nomination or should we go for the 491 nomination? I'm going to try and bust some of the myths and give you some clarity that will help you decide whether you need to go for the 190 nomination or the 491 nominations in support of your skilled migration application for Australia. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to just draw some parallels between the two visas. So as you can see on your screen, both the subclass 190 as well as the subclass 491 visa require a nomination. So irrespective of whether you're going for 491 or for a 190 visa, you will need to be nominated, sponsored by a particular state. Once your nomination application is successful, then the immigration department will give you an invitation to apply for a visa. The next parallel I'm going to draw is in terms of your rights to live, work and travel. For the 190 visa, of course, it's a direct, straightaway permanent residence visa. As far as the 491 visa is concerned, it's a provisional visa in which you can live and work in Australia up to 5 years. In both the visas, you are free to travel in and out of Australia as many times as you want. Then in terms of the healthcare, education and other benefits. Now, what a lot of people probably do not know is that just like the 190 permanent visa, the 491 visa also allows the applicants, or let's say the visa holders, the medical benefits, the education benefits and all other benefits related to your stay in Australia. Now I'm going to be talking about some points where the 190 visa has an advantage over the 491 visa and some points where the 491 visa holders are going to have an advantage over the 190 visa holders. So if you carefully look at your screens, the areas where a particular visa has an advantage over the other, I've marked it with an arrow, a green arrow that goes up. And the area where the specific visa type has a disadvantage over the other visa type, I've marked it with an arrow, a red arrow that's downward facing. So the first point we're going to discuss is that what kind of visas are these? So of course, clearly you all know that the 190 visa is a permanent visa. So that's a huge advantage. You get permanent residence along with your family right away. As far as the 491 visa is concerned, it is a provisional visa. You do get a visa for 5 years, but you're required to live and work in the nominating state or any designated area for that matter for 3 years, following which you can apply for the permanent stage through the visa 191. Now, the next one is that in terms of living anywhere, as far as the 190 visa is concerned, you are absolutely free to live anywhere. Yes, you are obligated to live at least for 2 years in the state that has nominated you. That's your obligation which you are required to meet. In terms of the 491 visa, however, you cannot live in the metropolitan areas. Holders of the 491 visa are obligated to live and work in designated areas only. So typically speaking, designated areas would be anything and everything except for Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. The next point is that when you apply for a 190 visa, you are eligible to sponsor your relatives for their skilled migration applications or partner migrant applications and so on. Whereas when you hold a 491 visa, you can sponsor only for a visitor visa. Now we're going to talk about some of the upsides of 491 over 190 visa. So clearly you can see that under the 190 visa, the points allocated to you for nomination are 5, whereas under the 491 visa, the points allocated to you are 15. So we see a huge difference there, and this is probably one aspect that just takes up the applicants' points considerably, and people do end up choosing 491 over 190. Interestingly, the eligible lists that are open under 190 and 491 are also different. As you're aware, there are three major eligible occupations list. One is called the MLTSSL, the second one is the STSOL, and the third one is the ROL. So under the 190, only those whose occupations fall in the MLTSSL as well as the STSOL can apply for a 190 visa, whereas for the 491, all the three occupation lists, the MLTSSL, STSOL and the ROL can apply. Therefore, clearly you can see an advantage here that if you're applying for a 491 visa, you have a wider choice of occupations available. The question now a lot of people ask is, do I need a higher point score if I'm applying for a 491 visa? So my answer to that is given here. If you're applying for a 190 visa, you're usually required to have a higher point score, simply for the reason that usually for the 190 visa, the states send you an invitation to apply for a nomination, and usually applicants with a higher score are picked up. Therefore, yes, it is highly recommended that you have a higher score if you're aiming a 190 nomination. Whereas if you're looking at applying for a 491 nomination, you don't need to worry about having a higher score. As long as you have 65 points and you're meeting the state's criteria, you're good to go. And the next aspect I want your attention to is the priority processing. So though the timelines have been disturbed owing to the COVID, still the 491 visa remains a priority processing visa, whereas a 190 visa is not a priority processing visa. So anybody who applies for a 491 visa will be given priority over the 190 visa. Now, coming down to the competitiveness. Practically speaking, when we see the state's eligibility criteria introduced for 190 nomination applicants and 491 nomination applicants, we do see a more stringent criteria for the 190 applicants. And as far as the 491 applicants are concerned, the criteria is kind of, relaxed. It kind of seems that, they are kind of making it convenient for 491 applicants to apply for a nomination and become eligible for the visa. Now, a few things I want you to remember about the 491 is that, first of all, it's not a temporary visa. So a lot of people think it's a TR, it's a temporary visa, so we don't want to go on a 491. Please understand, it is not a TR. It is not like a visitor visa or a student visa in which you go to Australia and then you're expected to come back. It is a provisional visa which will take you to the permanent residence after 3 years, provided you've complied with the conditions of having lived and worked there. Now, as far as the income threshold of $53,900 is concerned, again, it is a very achievable income level. You can pull in your various sources of income to meet this threshold. You can also utilize your overseas income in order to come up with this minimum income threshold. And most importantly, please remember that once you're moving from 491 after 3 years to 191, you do not have to go through the entire gamut of the point test, taking the IELTS or PT again. All of that is something you do not need to repeat. All you need to prove to the government after 3 years is that you've lived there and that you worked there and you've achieved a certain level of income. That's good to go. They will change your visa from 491 to the permanent state, that is 191, that is your permanent residence, and then you're free to move anywhere. Now, interestingly, I'd also like to share with you that there are some people who by default cannot apply for any visa other than the 491 visa, since their occupations happen to be on the ROL, that is the regional occupation list. So despite them having a very high score, maybe 80, 85, or very good English proficiency, even let's say, even if they have 8 bands in each section, they still cannot be eligible for a 190 visa simply because their occupation is listed on the ROL, regional occupation list. Some examples, I've just picked up a very few, it's a long list. Some of the very popular occupations that fall under the ROL are the farmers, all kinds of farmers, real estate representatives, financial institution branch managers, the bank managers, the vocational education teachers, human resource advisors, fitness center managers, market research analysts, public relations officers, and multimedia designers. So that's it for today. I hope that has given you enough insight into deciding whether you need to go in for a 491 or a 190, and obviously been able to see a clear reason why you should be preferring a 491 visa. So I end this video here. For any queries, please feel free to write to us on caanwings@gmail.com. That is CAANWINGS@gmail.com, or send us your questions. Call us 78498 78498. Until next time, goodbye and take care.